Hello, everybody. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. It is 12:35 on Wednesday, June 26th. I hope you are having a lovely day, a nice start to your summer. Here for episode number 80, we have Jeff Francisco of the TDG Group or TDG Audio, the DaVinci Group, and the DaVinci Group has two brands, TDG Audio and Vanguard Dynamics, and we're going to learn all about that from Jeff here in just a moment. But let me go ahead and make sure that we are streaming live. So bear with me. I'm going to jump over to Facebook and see if technology is behaving and if in fact we are live. Let's see here. And there we are. We look like technology is behaving. So real quick, what I'm going to throw up on the screen, I'm going to take my artwork down from Jeff. And I want to let you know we are doing a little fun, some summer giveaways. We have a different theme over here at One Firefly every month, June through September. And there's an opportunity if you go on to our Facebook and or on to our Instagram, you'll see the instructions. This month's co-sponsor of the giveaway is the manufacturer Sonnen. With the energy storage solutions. So certainly keep an eye out for that. You know, look at the posts there, and some really cool giveaways, all themed around summer camp. Summer camp is the theme of our ongoing monthly reports where we give status updates for all the various marketing activities we're performing for clients. So we decided to carry that forward into our theme of giveaways for this summer. So definitely be sure to check those out. But let's go ahead and bring in our guest. He should be here any moment. There he is. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Ron.
I almost messed up. I said Jeff Francisco at TDG Audio, but then I had to correct myself. It's with the DaVinci Group, and TDG Audio is one of your brands, correct?
Yeah, exactly. The company's the DaVinci Group, and we have two brands, TDG Audio, which is our premier select, mostly dealer direct brand, and Vanguard Dynamics, which is really no lesser of quality product, but just a lot of other products live there. And that's most products and distribution.
Understood. Now, where are you coming to us, Jeff? What part of this great country are you in right now?
I'm coming to you from Southern California.
Oh, I was about to brag about being in Southern Florida, but no, I think you got me beat by being in Southern Cal.
Well, it's still okay right here. I'm in the inland part of Southern California, and it's right now we still have a bit of that marine influence. You know, cool mornings, but it'll get burning hot any day now.
Yeah, but still no humidity. You know, you walk outside right now here in Fort Lauderdale, it's easily 100% humidity, even if it's only 85 degrees.
I understand humidity. I just got back from Beijing. That was very high humidity. 100 degrees, 60%. Yeah.
Holy moly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, we've already had someone just stop in and wave at you. So Angel Cruz just stopped in and said, hi, Jeff. Thank you, Angel, for doing that. By the way, if you're out there watching live or you're watching the replay or listening to the replay, don't forget to go to the post and like the post. If you have questions for Jeff live, I'm gonna do my best to catch them and read them to Jeff, and we'll get his take on the industry or on product development or any of the other fun topics that we're going to get into. And or share this video, share this so that your friends in the industry can see it. Please do so. Jeff, some of our audience, although you have been around, you've been around the block once or twice in this industry. But I'm going to say maybe there's someone watching that doesn't know you. So could you give us a little bit of your background?
Sure. You know, like a lot of people in this business, I'm I'm a former musician. A lot of us that didn't make it doing that, you know, you look around in this business and there's a lot of us that just fell into it. I think just because audio was cool at the time. And that was really before video. That dates me, right? Before there was much video.
Sure.
So that's, you know, really, I came into doing what I'm doing by, I had given up on the music career. I had some success, but not enough to really, you know, buy a home and put a lot of bread on the table. And at a certain point, it was, you know, Mom, Dad, you know, I'm coming home, and went to discover new opportunities and ended up at a place called SpeakerCraft as a day job. And that was many, many years ago, 1985 to date myself. And, you know, most of your viewers probably know SpeakerCraft, and this was a long time ago. And I started there doing some stuff in the retail business, and this was back in the OEM days before the brand was launched. And pretty soon I was working my way into R&D opportunities and working on stuff that was, you know, being manufactured in the good old US of A at the time. And I touched products like the early Sonance product, the first line of Niles architectural speakers. We were doing product for JBL and Harman. Really cut my teeth on that part of the business and R&D. And then at the same time was working retail. And this was before Cedia even, and figuring out, well, how do we put this stuff into homes? How do we talk with home builders? How do we talk to the client? How do we, you know, figuring out really how the business model of custom integration worked. So I was kind of cutting my teeth on both sides of it at the time. And, you know, along the way, hired my former business partner, which a lot of people know from SpeakerCraft, and grew that company and do a lot of things. A lot of people don't know that I was actually one of the owners there for quite a while till we sold it to Nortec. And along the way, learned and did a lot of stuff.
I didn't know that.
Well, you know, my former partner cast a big shadow. So,
he does. We'll just leave him as unnamed, your former partner.
So in any case, you know, along the way, learned and did a lot of stuff in product development. I mean, I did a lot of marketing stuff also, and of course, strategy and things there at SpeakerCraft, but primarily, you know, became the product guy. Along the way, you know, got some patents, invented some stuff.
What were your patents? What are some of the patents over at SpeakerCraft that have your name on it?
People are probably familiar with the AIM product, which was the first speaker to be, And, you know,
that was with the aimable tweeter?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, aimable the entire woofer, you know. And that was kind of a revelation at the time of really looking at the product, which is one thing I like to do. I don't think I'm that big of a genius, but I just like to listen to people and what they're doing and what they need. And at the time, really trying to figure out why people were using so many in-ceiling speakers. And I was surprised to see that they were using them for home theater. And that was kind of new. In-ceiling speaker, home theater. So the idea was, well, how do we make something for home theater that's in ceiling that performs the best? And, you know, those are the kind of ideas that throughout my career there and into DaVinci Group, you know, I like to carry along. So, you know, I was, you know, at SpeakerCraft, did a lot of stuff, worked with a lot of great people, had a good time, did a lot of speaker product for the SpeakerCraft brand, the Proficient Audio brand, stuff people never heard about. You know, some consumer stuff, and you know, it was all good, and it was all a lot of fun. And then in 2012, I resigned and started the DaVinci Group with my current partner, Alex.
All right, so I want to jump into that, but I do have a question. Just it's a marketing branding question actually for you regarding what you were just saying, and that is, you know, you mentioned a lot of brands. That you mentioned Niles Audio, you mentioned Sonance, and you may have mentioned another one. And you mentioned that SpeakerCraft was initially doing all OEM, and then at some point they transitioned into being a direct brand. Can you just expound on that? I'm just curious, like when? what was your role with these other brands? And then when was a decision made to make SpeakerCraft its own public-facing brand?
Well, the role with those other brands varied. I mean, SpeakerCraft was both a manufacturer of those brands, and in some cases was also, to get engineering speak, we were ODM, which was an original design manufacturer. So we were doing engineering and design, and various things for various ones of those companies. Exactly what my role was in some of those. Some of it was in production, some of it was in engineering. It really varied. As far as the how and the when of the SpeakerCraft brand being launched, really what happened there was in the early 90s, it became a reality that a lot of people were moving manufacturing offshore into other areas, and we, not myself, but the then owners, really were visionaries of saying this ain't going to happen. No one's going to be making a loudspeaker in America in much longer. So the decision was made to take the expertise in architectural speakers, launch our own brand called SpeakerCraft, and that's really how the whole thing happened. A little bit of tidbit history for the records here. The architectural product really wasn't the first branded product that SpeakerCraft had tried. It was actually a car audio product, and that didn't do so well. So then that was many years
their first.
Earlier. Yeah,
the SpeakerCraft brand to the consumer, to the industry, was a car product.
That was quite a few years before they tried the architectural product. But the architectural product was done, and I guess you could say the rest is history. So that really the brand became to be because of the marketing pressures of manufacturing, and so it's decided to take that expertise and launch that into our own branded product.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for digressing or going through that a little more detail with me and the audience. That was great. Now, talk to me about the DaVinci Group. What is, you said your partner, Alex. So you and Alex started the DaVinci Group. What was your vision for the company?
Well, our vision really was what I saw at the time was, part of it is you got to be an idiot, right? It's like a lot of people say that the architectural market is a commodity market, right? Which, it's like, okay, why do you want to go into that with other opportunities in the business? And, on the surface, I see that. But one thing that I've always seen is that, especially at that time and coming out of the Great Recession, and a lot of what's happening right now in the market is there's a lot of big companies, a lot of consolidation, a lot of, I don't want to get too corporate bashing here, but large entities that their priorities maybe aren't quite aligned with the majority of our market. I have this phrase I always like to use, and so much of our market is really, I call it a guy, his wife, a truck, and a dog, and maybe a cousin that helps out on weekends. Really, they're small business people. And I've always seen, and we see the value of a company that's small and responsive and can work with people directly. We know their names, we know their business habits, we can help them seize opportunities and deal with problems. And, I've always seen, and I saw at the time, the value of having a company like that in a market where people are just an account number. And it's proven true. And, one of the other things that I thought that we would be able to do entering the market is, while my current role isn't 100% R&D, Alex and I come from that background. I raise my hand and admit it. I'm an engineering geek. And if there's anything that Alex and I know, and I could spend a lot of time on his background and his expertise, but, I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here and say that the two of us together have actually designed more architectural speaker products than any other business in the market. We really have. Wow. I mean, he's done many for other brands in a behind the scenes role. Myself, I've done countless ones. So we really understand the product. We can be really responsive. We understand all the nitty gritty details. And, so I saw that as an opportunity too, where the two of us together could make product that was cool, it was reliable, it sounded great for the price. So, those are the basic opportunities I saw entering the market.
Some of the basics or mechanics of how you guys go to market, just for those that are listening and are curious. Like, and you mentioned 2 product families. I'm actually going to do a screen share here. I'm going to see if technology will behave. I'm going to warn my audience. They know all too well. Sometimes it goes up in smoke when I do this. But there we go. So there, I shared a screen. And so here's the TDG audio brand. Can you kind of explain what that is and then what the Vanguard line is?
Sure. TDG audio brand is, primarily our dealer direct, assortment of architectural loudspeakers. And that's everything from the standard 6.5-inch two-way that everyone needs to, premium dedicated home theater products. And everything in between. So, it's primarily architectural products that you would use in those applications. I mean, right now you're looking at our Skybar, which is kind of a unique product that allows you to get a 7.1 system in 3 boxes. We have some high-end distributed audio amplifiers within the line also. That's, in a nutshell, what the TDG audio brand is all about.
Got it. And then the Vanguard Dynamics brand.
The Vanguard Dynamics brand, traditionally it was a product that would be, we concentrated our distributed audio amplifiers there, and then our entry-level loudspeakers. A lot of production homes use these loudspeakers within the Vanguard line. But that right now, really Vanguard, we're shifting as and I know we may talk about this here, really shifting the focus of that branding into other opportunities centered around, voice integration.
And that's this thing, right?
That's
Veil
right.
amp.
That'd be the Veil amp, right?
Yeah, tell our audience what is this thing, because I know this hits into this super hot category that I really want to pick your brain on, and that is the concept of the smart speaker. And I think you're going down that path with this product. So can you explain this?
Sure. What we did and what we saw, once again, we'd like to keep our ears open, not just to the CI market, but the greater market. I always think of this thing that I remember Bill Gates saying, which is, at the top of his career at Microsoft, he was always paranoid and looking over his shoulder for what was next. And I've always kept that and remembered that in my thinking, that, anything could change in an instant. And I always remain paranoid, and not in a worrisome way, but, more in an opportunity way also. And
sure.
In doing that, the smart speaker became something that I quickly saw as a real game changer in our industry. And I could go over the stats, but basically, a lot of Americans own these things. As of the beginning of the year, 58 million people had one. I think the stats were 8% of Americans got a smart speaker for Christmas. I mean, that's incredible.
Smart speaker being Amazon Alexa, Google.
Google Hub. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we were really looking at is seeing that people are using these primarily for distributed audio. They're, the main reason and then for buying them and using them, or the main use of them, was to listen to music. So we're sitting here going, okay, we're in the business of music, right? Of providing people music throughout the home and giving them that experience. And this is how America is experiencing music, is the smart speaker. So how do we give the CI channel opportunities in that, right? Rather than just having all of America go and click and buy an Echo Dot or a Hub, a Google Hub or something that just sits on their counter, and they listen to music in that poor way, and maybe they buy multiples. Okay, so that's a demand that's being generated by the ordinary American. But our thoughts are really, how do we seize that opportunity within the CI channel? The people that we know, the people that I want to support, that, as I said, the guy, his wife, a truck, and a dog, how do we let them seize that opportunity? And what we came up with is, we went through a lot of iterations. We actually had a couple Amazon approved products. Alex and I made the pilgrimage to Seattle. And, at the end of the day, we decided the most cost effective way to do it and the best way to do it was just to leverage the hardware that Amazon already had in place, rather than recreate the wheel and at our expense make something real expensive. We came up with a solution that really it's kind of dumb. What we're doing is using Amazon smarts, coupling them to our solution and allowing it to work within our channel. And what that is we take a Echo Dot, either second generation or the third generation Dot, you put it into an in-wall dock, and we provide it the Dot power, and we take the audio out, and it becomes something you can hook up to 2 or 4 loudspeakers, and you distribute audio through that zone. You can, and then beyond that, what you can really do is leverage the power that Amazon has already incorporated into the product of multi-room, intercom, things like that. I mean, we have people installing 8, 10, 12, 17 of these things in a home, and it becomes a distributed audio system. And
because through voice commands, and I don't know this, Jeff, because I people are going to laugh at me. I don't have an Amazon Alexa, although a lot of my staff do. But so educate me real quick, and maybe for those that are listening, that I know 99% of this audience probably knows this, so it's really educate me. You can, through voice commands, set up groupings of these, so you can have the zoning.
What you do is it's a very simple to set up groupings, and also other, what you consider programming, I guess, in our lingo, is done quickly and easily through the Alexa app. So you can set up zones and just like you would in other solutions within our channel. I mean, this is simple enough that, homeowners are doing it all the time. We refer people, hey, go watch this 3-minute video and you'll understand how to do it. So, kind of getting back to that, some of the original thoughts of this, it was really, okay, we're going to allow people to leverage this power of Alexa in a simple, straightforward way. So we're going to allow them to then, get high quality music out of this. You don't have to think about how many channels you need. You just add one for every zone or area you want to have music. And then, on top of that, you just use the normal commands that you would. There's no extra programming we have. Amazon's managing that stuff in the cloud. They got a lot of smart guys banging keyboards, and these things get smarter every day. And there's all kinds of, countless things you can do with it. But, at the basics of it, what it really is providing something that I've always believed in, and why I'm still here, and why there's still people making architectural speakers and amplifiers and putting them into homes, which is the experience of listening to music throughout the home is fantastic. And this, I believe, is the latest way to achieve it.
So just stepping back from this particular product, what do you think smart speakers mean for our industry? Just this concept of, Amazon and Google and Apple now acting as this interface. It sounds like you think that's going to continue to grow.
It is. I think the biggest change it means for our industry is one our industry has been one that has been really at the pointy edge of educating homeowners about technology they can integrate into their home. So we've been the one going to the homeowner and saying, you know what, let me explain how lighting control works, and let me explain the benefits of this. Let me explain how you can have, Elvis in the bedroom and you can have Bob Marley outside on the patio, and what benefit that comes to you. And our channel has been the ones really educating the home buyer and user on the technologies that integrate into the home. The big game changer now is that we're not the ones doing that any longer. I mean, we're doing that, but in bulk, it's really the smart speaker guys. It's Google, it's Amazon, to a lesser degree, it's Apple. And they're the ones saying, hey, you know what? Go buy the smart plug and we can turn on, your toaster. Go buy the smart light bulb and we can control your lighting. You know what? Just tell us you want to listen to Bob Marley and I can play it. And the education level of the American public is growing. And I believe what we're getting is people that are now saying to the integrator, like to a much lesser degree, they were saying, I want Sonos, right? And that was kind of a first wave of this, you could almost say. And now they're saying, you know what? I want what Alexa does. I want what Google does. And they've already had an experience of some sort of home automation, distributed audio with these products for very little cost. So I believe the big game changer in our industry as this grows is that those home buyers and people that are being touched, it's going to be harder to say, I can do these things for you. Here's this, control 4 system for 80 grand. And, I realize the real benefits of a system like that versus some others, right? But, a lot of America is going to say, you know what? I've been living with some lighting control and thermostat and good music here. And
so Jeff, I have a theory here. So I have, and I've been working on this theory for a few years, and this might not sound like any sort of epiphany. I might be stating the obvious, but the theory is that as this technology and all the smart speaker, the Amazon Alexas, the Apples, and so forth are proliferating, the marketplace, the availability of technology is going downstream. The awareness and education of the consumer is increasing rapidly. And so I see the overall market is just increasing exponentially. It's not yet, so this is maybe the controversial point. It's not that the high-end customer that wants to be served by an integrator, I don't see them going away.
I don't either.
It's just that the market overall is expanding.
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree with that, or do you see it differently?
I partially agree with that. I think that there's always going to be that percentage of people that will appreciate the high quality, the touch point, the serviceability of those systems. I got an anecdotal story for what anecdotal means, right?
Sure.
But this is maybe it could be you could call it a canary in the coal mine. So I was at we attend the ISE show in Amsterdam, which is a fantastic show. I'd urge anyone that's never gone to be there. I mean,
I've been several times.
It's awesome. So we exhibit there, and I had this February. I had the Veil 3, which is our dock for the Amazon Echo Dot 3, and it was the opening day. It was a bit quiet, and there was a gentleman that walked by the booth, and he did a double take, and he turned around, he came back, and he pointed at the Veil lamp. He said, "Tell me about this product." And I explained it. Okay, here's how it works, and it does this. He goes, "You know what? I'm going to need some of these." And he went on to explain, he goes, I'm a Crestron integrator in London, and I have a client that's an American hedge fund manager. He was referred to me by another client of mine named David Geffen. And I quoted him he says, I'm a Crestron guy. I quoted him an entire Crestron solution. And he looked at me and said, I've been living with Alexa. I don't want Crestron. Only thing I want in my house is Alexa. I love it. Mm-hmm. And this guy looked at me and said, I'm going to need 8 of these products. And I don't know. I got to figure out, how I'm going to integrate it. I mean, now I know there's other solutions that integrate, the big control platforms and people, they have, solutions that integrate with voice Alexa. But in this case, this is what the guy wanted. And that was his expectation.
So whereas previous, I think I'm hearing you say is otherwise, maybe if that customer did not already have Alexa, then that would have naturally been a Crestron sale.
It would have been a Crestron sale. Yeah.
And because now he had $1,000 worth of Alexas in his house, his next house is now going to have Alexa.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this is doom and gloom. I believe that, like you say, I do believe there's a percentage of the market that's always going to be there. I believe the challenge with our industry, and this is our little start of our solutions. We have other ones coming. The challenge of our industry is to take that, what Americans, I believe, people worldwide are demanding, which is, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. People want to listen to music. People are listening to more music in their home than ever. This is a wonderful thing. So our challenge as a business is to say, how do we make that better? How do we take that need that people have and that they're experiencing and make it better for them? And I believe that, the types of products, and I believe there's service solutions in there also. I believe there's opportunity. We just need to think a little different. And I know a lot of people already are about what our products and our installations are to seize on that demand.
So I'm going to challenge you a little further then. I hear you on the smart speaker, and you guys are designing some really neat solutions, clearly with a large potential marketplace that could consume that. And you're designing solutions for the integrator to capitalize and benefit from that, which I think everyone listening should appreciate what you guys are doing. What other trends or shifts do you see happening out there that would affect those that are listening? What you have, you and Alex are looking forward and you're designing solutions. What are other trends?
I think one of the biggest trends is smaller living spaces. And one of the big things that's happening is, if you look at where our channel has traditionally profited and realized success, a lot of this is very wealthy urban environments. And those spaces are out of McMansion real estate. Once again, those 1%ers, those people that can afford, hey, it's great. You can afford the $50 million home in Brentwood. I'm glad, right? But a lot of people now we're seeing, whereas, 10 years plus years ago, 8+ years ago, a condo was something that you bought because you couldn't afford a single family home and it didn't have a lot of amenities. And now what we're seeing is that the market's, grown into these, smaller living spaces, but the expectation within those spaces is having all the same great premium stuff. It's the $2 million, 1,500-foot condo. And people want, lighting control, and they want distributed audio, and they want home theater in their new premium space. So I think in our channel, one of the greatest challenges is really figuring out how to capitalize on those environments and those needs that are being created.
So when you look forward, do you think the integrators in our channel, by the way, are you able or willing to say how many integrators do you think there are in North America that we would call an integrator?
I have absolutely no idea. A lot.
A ballpark. All right, well, so I normally say somewhere between 10,000 and 15,000.
I think it could be, it depends on how you define them, right? I would put it far north of that if you include, there's a lot of people in the secondary channels, and that, there's the CI guys, but, if you went into your local, security distributor and you spent a day at the counter, you would see a lot of guys come through there that are touching audio and touching some form of lighting, and there's a lot of, maybe they don't do it as a full-time job, but they're out there doing it. So there's kind of like that. I think you could be right in like the core of the market.
Yeah, I'm thinking classic resi integrator. Yeah. They have a shingle, but no, I hear you. There's the security guys and the all the other tangential trades that are even in other verticals that are still playing in the world of home audio, outdoor audio, and home theater, you name it. I agree 100%. A lot of our audience, Jeff, is integrators, either owners or various, any level, from, the person organizing the warehouse to the project managers to the salespeople, you name it. What would be, and a lot of our listeners, just based on feedback that I've received personally, are, newer businesses. And, my personal experience is that running a business, not much prepares you for the unknowns that is running a business. It's, I think, one of the more interesting challenges in life, but very rewarding. Do you have advice? You've been a business owner and or manager or operator for multiple decades. What advice do you have for any of the integrators that are listening in terms of, what would be things to consider to ultimately that would benefit them or help them grow their business?
Well, I would, just in general, having been through the ups and downs of the industry and seeing how things flow, I would, first of all, I would urge people that they need to be flexible in their approach. And when I say that, a lot of guys fall into one type of business they're servicing or one type of business model. And that's great. If you make, I'm not saying don't avoid opportunity, but at the same time, you're saying, hey, this is here's the products I install and the way I do it and the value of the home. At the same time you're doing that, you need to think about, I'm not going to turn down that, restaurant up the street that needs some stuff that, maybe it's not as profitable but you know what? I'm going to learn what that's about. I'm going to learn how to do a little bit of commercial stuff, or I'm going to learn how to do this other house, or maybe I'm going to stretch a little bit. And, I normally don't do a dedicated home theater, but I'm going to stretch a little bit and do that. And I think it's good for people to have a range of, expertise, so that when things happen, they can, that does a couple things. Either, if things go bad south, God forbid, you can go, you know what? Wow, the homes over here, there's not so many being built, but you know what? Wow, the retail thing has taken off and I got, a lot of business over here. Or, you know what, those cameras I did, I learned a little bit about how to put in cameras and stuff. And boy, that's really taken off over here. Or so that concept of being flexible, I think, is important. The other key is always to be, is to try and anticipate change and do what you think you have to do before it's too late. So whether that's, seizing an opportunity or, whatever it is in business, it tends to be by the time it's right in front of us and obvious as to what we should do, it's too late. Whether that's an opportunity or a problem. So, my advice is always just kind of, maybe it's not the right decision, but always try and anticipate that opportunity or anticipate that problem. And at least act in some way before it becomes obvious.
All right. Well, I have a couple of random questions for you to close out the interview. And if you watched other interviews, you will not have seen me ask this. This is entirely unfair, but it'll be some random questions here, and we'll see. And I may or may not continue doing this on future interviews. We'll see how this goes. First question is, do you have a recent or a book that you've read that you would advise others, other business owners or operators or people in the CI business to read?
You know what? Not directly related to our business. I'm actually kind of a periodical guy. I'll give you my periodical recommendation.
There you go. I'll take that.
And it's going to sound a bit erudite, and it's called Lapham's. It's called Lapham's Quarterly. And what Lapham's Quarterly is, I'm
going to go find that website.
Yeah,
that's a new one for me.
It's kind of geeky. It's a quarterly, but what Lapham's Quarterly is they have a theme. every quarter, and Lewis Lapham is the editor. Every quarter they have a theme, whether it's war or wealth or sex or the sea, and they take and they explore that theme, from all time. So there could be 3,000-year-old writings from China, modern. They ask people to do modern day, current editorials on it. And what you find by looking at a particular subject over time, it helps you understand more than just, okay, what is this about today in this, June of 2019? It really overall gives you a broader understanding of, life and these situations. And it frames them, and it helps, for me personally, it helps my thinking expand rather than just to looking at the immediacy of what's happening now and what the arc of history means to a particular subject or
I love it, Jeff. I can tell you, I didn't see that coming from a mile away. So I think that's wonderful. I'm definitely going to keep that question coming. Next question is, and you're speaking of history and historical trends and things that I have an opinion, things are changing. And it has to do with data, the internet, and currency. So can you guess the direction I'm going to go?
Probably.
What is your opinion around the sea change that potentially maybe I'm influencing your answer by giving you hints? What are your thoughts around the trend that's going around blockchain? And Bitcoin, of course, is going bananas in the last couple of days, up 300% or something. So that is influencing me a little bit. But what's your opinion on what's happening?
Oh man, I don't know if I can have an opinion.
And the answer could be you're not paying attention.
I'll give you my most recent thing. I follow Paul Krugman, and economist. And I believe it's him that is saying, it's been overrated. The blockchain, at least blockchain. I know that he's, the guy's smart cookie has won a Nobel, and he's a bit of a critic of it. I believe, I may be misplacing it here, but I believe it was him that I read recently being quite critical of it. I don't. That's one of those things.
It's not on your radar yet.
It's really, it's on my radar, but not one of that I've formed an opinion on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is fair. Well, Jeff, it has been. I've seen you and heard of you for many years. I've been in the business for 20 years, and you and I have never, our paths had not crossed, until this interview. And so I'm honored to have had some time to interview you and get to know you better, and for your willingness to share with our audience.
It's been my pleasure, Ron.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you, sir. And I'm going to sign off with the audience here, but it was great having you on.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Well, I was going to take you off screen, Jeff, but I think you're just permanently on screen. It doesn't, my software doesn't want to take you off screen. That is pretty funny. So what we're going to do is we're going to sign off this way. You're going to hang out with me. You see my software. It's like, it's you roll a dice, and that dictates how it's going to go that day. Oh yeah. So it's entirely locked up. So Jeff, we're going to sign off like this, okay, my friend. Awesome having you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, buddy. Be well.